value-driven decision-making, a deep dive. The model introduced during our second video made specific reference to value-driven aspects of decision-making. We learned that specific decision scenarios can elicit feelings of fear, aversion, or enthusiasm. These are not cognitive impulses, they're rather emotive or affective drivers speaking to our hearts, not our heads. Our model illustrated how these responses often result in a lateral shift of our mindsets, our value orientations to influence our decision-making in the future. The question naturally arises: what decisions will present value considerations? When will I experience feelings as opposed to thoughts on a decision? How can I manage this process? We propose a series of awareness, analysis, and sensitizing to manage value-driven decision-making. Recommends that we educate ourselves in value aspect of decision literature, as you are doing through this video series, assessing our personal value systems and acting on this information by devising a value-sensitive decision-making program. The first step is basically complete. You have a good understanding of decision-making literature and know enough to realize that decision-making is not of the mind alone. You've reached a level of awareness that allows for the influence of values on your decision-making processes, and you are a better decision-maker for it. The second step is to analyze our personal decision-making profile. We suggest a combination of at least a risk profile assessment coupled with a value system assessment. You could, of course, include enneagrams, basic personality tests such as the MBTI and other tools, but to understand how you will react to value-laden decisions, you need the aforementioned two assessments. During my PhD, I employed two specific instruments: the domain-specific risk-taking instrument developed by Karen Weber and her team, and the personal value questionnaire of Shalom Schwartz. Together, these questionnaires will not only highlight your value sensitivities or blind spots, but will also help to predict how likely you are to act on them, given your risk profile. The figure on screen now shows the Schwartz value system. The instrument consists of 19 personal values, was designed as a continuum around a 2x2 grid, that grid being made up of complementing axes, addressing the two core questions: are you self-enhancing or self-transcendent? And are you conservative or open to change? Varying combinations of these two considerations yield the 19 values mentioned before. For an in-depth description on how the values were developed, arranged, and tested, look for the academic article by Schwartz listed in the credit section. Now, in this graphic, I overlaid personal value profiles of two individuals with notably varying value sets. It should be clear from the graphic that these two individuals are very likely to clash on matters of universal concerns and nature conservation. However, on matters involving autonomous action and personal security, they feel the same. I chose these two respondents because they illustrate an interesting point. Aside from their clearly different value sets, they are alike in many other considerations. They report to the same level of management, they share a common language background and an ethnic identity, they have similar urges, and really only differ in gender. As humans, we like to stereotype. He is lazy because he's from that group. She drinks too much because she's from that area. Personal value sets dispel these observations. Personal value sets are honest and insightful. And though we know from the work of Hofstede that some general cultural distances exist between nationalities, you are not working with nation states in the workplace. You are managing people, individuals, each with their own value set and a unique background and profile. The same goes for risk profiles. The plot shown in the screen is a typical DOSPER risk assessment. Note again how different the two respondents reacted to the same scenario. The risk profiles do not dictate whether we will react to a value, but gives us a feeling of how drastic the action might be. People with low risk scores in a specific domain tend to be risk averse here, erring on the side of caution when uncertain. The opposite goes for high scores, where people scoring high in a particular domain seem unperturbed by the implied risk. Incidentally, a curious finding from my PhD studies seemed to suggest that people willing to take risk in a personal space and social risk generally produced higher quality decisions. Something to ponder at home. I trust this was insightful. Please share your realizations with us in the comment section and stay tuned for a mind shift, Spiral Dynamics. Until next time, goodbye.